resin process. So you've gotten your tools together, you clean your studio. Now what are you going to resin? So you have a choice. You can resin artwork on canvas and you can resin artwork on wood. If you Google resin art, you're going to come up with millions of hits. People are using resin on a lot of different substrates and doing lots of funky, cool things with it. I recommend spending some time and researching that. But for the alcohol ink artist, the acrylic artist, the painter, who has completed a painting on a piece of paper, some kind of paper, and wants to attach it now to a canvas or a piece of wood, this is the process that I use. So, canvas versus wood. Okay, straight out, resining on wood, on a wood panel especially, is much easier than resining on canvas. So you can go to Cheap Joe's and you can buy these high quality wood panels. This is an 11 by 14, I haven't opened it yet. It's not primed, but it even says really good cradled painting panel. This is a high quality. You will have good luck with this. The other option is a canvas. Now a canvas, again, it's harder to resin onto canvas. And I have researched this and looked up articles and read to try to figure this out. I still don't understand it 100%. It has to do with the chemistry of the material you're resining. And I did terrible in chemistry, so we're not even going to go there. But from my experience, what I found is because the canvas is soft, it's more soft than the wood, it's more porous, it's just harder and there's more bubbles rise to the surface and it tends to be soft. The larger the canvas, the harder it is because the softer it is in the middle. So if you're going to start with canvas, and that's what we're going to be using in this series, go with a small canvas to start out with. Give yourself a break, okay? Because it is a difficult process. This is something that it just takes, it's not difficult, it's just tricky. It just takes a little bit of experience and then you've got it down. Now what I do is I gesso. If I'm doing wood or canvas, I always gesso it. Some artists and some will say that's not needed. Again, I have done a lot of resin work. From my experience, the gessoed surface works better. And I don't know exactly why. I'm putting another layer in between the art and the substrate, and I think that has something to do with it. It just grips my art better. Also, it looks better on the sides of your art, and you're gonna more than likely paint the sides, and you're gonna want a gessoed surface. You want your art to look as good and professional as possible. So, what I do is, and I usually gesso, I have a day that I just gesso. Okay, so I take a bunch of wood panels and a bunch of canvases that I'm going to work with, and I gesso them. And I use something like the Liquitex gesso. It doesn't really matter for this. Just get a pretty good quality gesso. And I gesso the canvas. Here's a wood panel that I've gessoed as well. I'm gonna, in the future, put some alcohol ink art on this wood panel. I also went ahead and painted this time. Just because I knew what color I wanted, because I knew what art I was. A lot of times when I do a bulk gessoing, I don't know exactly what color I want the sides to be, so I leave them white until I'm a little bit more sure. So I gesso, and then you have to leave that, you have to let that dry for 24 hours, that's really important, or 20 hours, whatever, just give it some time to dry. And then, if you're going to paint the sides, I used acrylic paint. Go ahead and paint the sides of your art or of your panel, and you have to let that dry for about 24 hours. So this is important when you're doing resin. You have to be organized, especially if you're going to be entering your art in a show or there's a deadline coming up. You're going to have to backtrack in time and really organize and plan your time. I find the more I'm organized, the more successful I am. And so I usually go a couple weeks out because I allow for dry time, I allow for interruptions in my schedule. So with this canvas, I went ahead and I gessoed it, I painted the sides, I am going to be resining this piece of art onto this canvas, and in the next video I will show you how to do that, how to attach your artwork to your canvas. Now once you do that, you also have to let it dry for 24 hours. Another date you have to account for in your process. I just want to show you, this is an 8x10 canvas that I attached a piece of painted Yubo, painted with acrylics and some mixed media. There's some watercolor pens, there's some markers in here as well. On this one I decided I wanted to frame it. You don't have to frame these, but on this one I just thought it would look better. The largest size I have resined is this 11x14 canvas size. I'm getting ready to try a bigger size, but I have done several, and like I said, the larger you go, the more difficult it is. So for this video, if you want to follow along for this process, go ahead and get a small piece of art in a small canvas, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.